guys, it is great to see you. The last time I saw you guys, of course, was just around CMW. You couldn't even talk to me, man, because you had a performance that night and you couldn't say anything.
Yeah, I was being a giant diva. Rudy, that's my spot in the band.
You deserve to be a diva because Raging Bull at the time during the summer was tearing things up, and I do believe something happened because of that. Did you guys receive something here?
We received a #1 plaque as our first #1 in Canada. So they just give these to us tonight, and they're real pretty, aren't they? It feels really weird to be holding one of these.
How does it feel though, man? Because when we were talking, I mean, things were just really kicking off. You guys had worked so hard, 13 years, and then finally now you're starting to see where the hard work goes, man. You get an award like this from SOCAN, and that's something pretty prestigious.
Totally, man. Like, you know, that's the great thing about taking 13 years to get your first #1 is you really appreciate it. You know, you don't take it for granted. So, you know, some bands come out of the gates with a big hit in the first year. Took us 13. You know, but it's like we don't, like, we take it, like, it feels so good. So we're in full celebration mode right now.
Yeah, I gotta ask you, what was it like, man, to stand over there? You knew the awards were coming, and you even got, what did you get? You guys got like travel bags too and stuff like that?
Just unreal, and just gratitude, and being proud to be a part of this with my bros and my family. It's surreal right now, you know, and hopefully it's first of many to come, and let's keep doing this.
Yeah, and here I am taking you guys away from the party, but the party continues, not just with the folks here, but also with the fans, because new album, man, to finally follow up with the great song.
Yeah, new album comes out tomorrow, actually, the 13th, and followed by a massive Canadian tour. And the new single, Scream For Me, is killing it on the charts, so we're hoping to get more of these for that song. So it's going to be a crazy, crazy year and a crazy next year. So we don't leave the road much, Rudy, so.
Don't blame you guys, but I love the title of the new album because I think that really represents what you guys have been doing for 13 years.
Yeah, man, rock and roll, we were saying earlier, like, on the drive here, like, rock and roll, for some reason, is like a niche in 2017, but in our world, it's not a niche. Like, rock and roll is king. So it's kind of like summarizes that sort of idea that, like, we're taking rock and roll and we're taking it next level, and rock and roll should be king, and we're going to make sure that it is.
What's the album? Talk a little bit about the other songs on this album and how it represents not just Canadian rock, but rock in general.
Basically, we pretty much just looked at ourselves as a band. It was 3 years since our last album, and we're like, basically, in a weird way, we felt finally comfortable in our own skin as One Bad Son, and just got together and wrote those 10 songs. And honestly, they're just big, loud rock and roll songs, and it's what OBS is.
Yeah, definitely. But why the 2 to 3 years? Why did it take so long to make this album come together?
Well, I think because we spent so much time on the road, and we just, you know, we haven't left the road in so long, and so we actually, because the last record did really well too, and the record before that did really well, so we wanted to make sure that this one wasn't just going to be another one in the line of good records. We wanted this to be amazing, you know, so we wanted to take the time to make it amazing, play these songs live for people, and really make sure that they were everything we wanted them to be, and a record that we were extremely proud of. And so, you know, I think that's what you should do with music, right? Take your time and make sure it's right, get it out to the people. And I mean, we have like crazy rock and roll fans in this country, and now, you know, overseas, down in the States. So it's like we want to give them like the best version of OBS, right? So I feel like we did it for sure.
Think about it 13 years ago back in Saskatoon when you guys first got together. And as you said, it took 8 years before anything even clicked for you guys. Talk a little bit about the hard work in making this all come together and being able to have this type of award, having a great single out, and of course having a great album out finally.
You know, that's the cool thing is, like, you know, Muhammad Ali didn't become like the greatest boxer when everyone was watching. He did it when no one was watching and no one cared about him, right? And that's the same with anyone, right? Like, success doesn't build character, it reveals it, you know. And we've been like working away at this. It took us 8 years before anyone gave a, can I swear on this or no?
Yes, you can.
It took us 8 years before anyone gave a shit, right? So that's when our character was built in those early days, right? Early days, Shane had really baggy pants. Hicks.
I went from baggy pants and tight shirts to baggy shirts, tight pants. That's how we knew it was success.
That's when the flip occurred, and that's when success was coming. But honestly, it's like all those years of when no one really cared. It's like that's when we kind of the brotherhood between the three of us was really established, And so when success did come, it's like it didn't change us, didn't go to our heads. Like it just made us want to work even harder, right? So looking back at those early years, like I would never want to go back, but at the same time, it's like that's what made us who we are, right? And so we were ready for anything that came at us when it did.
The music was always changing, though. What was it about you guys in creating the sound that you did that you felt this is still going to work no matter whatever the next thing comes in?
I think it comes back to like we lived in the same house for I think 3 years, and none of us were the greatest musicians, but we grew together, and our music grew together. And I think the biggest thing, we had confidence in our band and each other, and that showed every record from our 2 independent records and then our debut record. And it was always that steady climb that we believed in ourselves, and our fans were there right with us, and they kept growing.
But you guys kept evolving. Who's the dad here? Okay, here you are. You're a dad. How does that work in with a rock and roll life like this, man? Because it's not easy to be able to take a family and be on the road like this.
I should start by saying I'm the only guy that's a dad that we know about, right? Like these guys might be, we don't know. Like so, if you are like, just
waiting for a phone call.
Call in.
If Maury Povich calls you, you're in trouble.
Phone in, ladies.
I'm like, yeah, my son's 15. Suck it, Katie.
You beat me
Just
to
last week.
You beat me to it. No, but honestly, man, it's hard. Like you got to balance it. But honestly, my son's like what I do it all for, right? So it makes me more driven to make the greatest rock and roll in the world, because if I'm going to do it, if I'm going to have all these sacrifices, I better do it right, Like it's not time to do it half-assed. It's time to do it, right? So in a weird way, it just like makes me want to be a better rock and roller than I ever was. You know what I mean?
Well, to be a better rock and roller, you got to be on tour. We were talking about the tour. What's happening with the tour, and where are some of the stops?
Well, we're going. Starting out in Alberta, we're doing some shows there. We're going out to Vancouver, back through middle of Canada, coming out east, playing Toronto and all around. Then we're going to end off in our we always do one big Christmas show in Saskatoon, our hometown. So the whole thing winds up in Saskatoon. Before Christmas, we just blow the roof off the city, and and then after that, it's going to be a short break, and then we're hoping to get back to Europe. We were just in Germany for some shows, so it's going to be, this tour is a long tour, but it's the beginning of yet a longer tour, right? So, yeah.
Look, I'm so happy for you guys. Look, as we wrap this up, I'm going to give you a chance, man. Anything you want to say to those fans, because they are die hard big time.
Honestly, just a huge thank you. We couldn't do this without you. We did it when we had 4 fans at the gigs, and now we're doing it to 400 to 1,000 fans, whatever. Like, our diehard fans know who are there, and we want to welcome all the new fans, and it's going to be a hell of a ride.
Fantastic. Guys, congrats on the new album. Congrats on the award, and congrats on the tour. But more importantly, man, just congrats on keeping rock and roll alive.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.